take the first topic as such, and then I'll try to explain you with respect to that. Later on, Sudhanshu will be carrying on the whole session itself. Understand, guys, if we go 15 years back, at that time, the major problem with respect to the companies was that how they can actually store the data efficiently. And as you all know, that data is getting exponentially created every day, right? So at that time, if you remember, big data framework had actually come. Many companies started creating big data frameworks where they could efficiently store the data, so that they can use that data for the later purpose. But now, as you see that already these frameworks have been created and many companies are able to collect huge amount of data, okay, with respect to the customers, with respect to the products that they are actually using. Now, considering this, now the situation is that how we can utilize those data, right? Now the organization are thinking that how we can actually utilize those data in order to bring some changes into the product so that the user will have a wonderful experience with respect to the products that they are actually using, smoothing the user experience. And it has been through the survey, it has been found out that, guys, people or organization who are actually implementing AI solutions into the product, they're able to do a huge amount of profit. They're basically able to do a huge amount of profit with respect to the products that they are actually selling. Okay, so that is how important data is. That now just understand, if you're collecting data from past 10 to 15 years, it is not like we'll just be deleting that particular data, right? We will be able to do a whole lot of things. Now, considering this, I'll just give the control to Sudhanshu now. He will be continuing the topics. And again, whenever you have any queries, please make sure that we will give you a time slot at the end of this particular session so that at that time we answer all your queries one by one, and then we'll try to answer most of them. Okay. So yes, Sudhanshu, you can continue and you can explain the agenda as per agenda, all the topics as we go ahead.
Okay, so thank you, Chris, and thank you, Rajat. So my name is Sudhanshu Kumar, guys, and I'm working as a chief AI engineer. I'm a founder of and this iNeuron.ai that we have. So generally, like my company used to work into education as well as we used to work into lots and lots of different kind of products related to AI or analytics, or I would say like a big data. So many things we are trying to do, and my experience wise, so I was working with Ernst Young EY for like a couple of months, I would say. And before that, so I was working with a Verizon research and development, and before that it was Deloitte, and before that, so I have started my career with Wipro. So this is my experience background in terms of education. So I have done my graduation in computer science and engineering, and apart from that, so I have done my PGDM in statistics. So this is my educational background. So apart from my experience. So in this 2-day session, we will be talking about like what is AI, what is data analytics, and how we can use efficiently a particular data in any kind of a domain, maybe into a retail, maybe into a supply chain, maybe into a healthcare, maybe into a business analytics, or maybe into operations. So how we can try to use a data efficiently, and then on top of that, how we can try to derive a business use cases, how we'll be able to derive a different kind of components of these particular businesses based on the data which is available to us, or how we'll be able to use each and everything to generate maybe a new kind of a business. So this is what we will try to understand. But before that, so we are supposed to understand that what is AI basically, or what is data analytics, what in all components comes into a picture when we are talking about a big data. So unless and until we are not able to understand those things, so for sure it will be a little bit difficult to understand or to talk about big data or data analytics, or maybe artificial intelligence, or I can say a data science. So nowadays we all are like getting into this particular word called as data science. Everyone is talking about data science, right? And everyone is saying that, okay, fine, so data is a new oil for an industry. Everyone is trying to work into a data, or whatever mobile application that you are using, whether it's a Gmail, or whether it's a Swiggy, or maybe a Ola, maybe a Uber applications. Everyone is trying to make use of this data efficiently. So we will try to understand that how they are trying to use a data, and how they're trying to target a particular customer, how they're trying to generate a revenue out of that, and how they're trying to grow their business just based on the data that we have. You will not be able to perform even a single task without using our data efficiently, whether like sending a mail to some person, or maybe we all are using a Facebook, we all are using a LinkedIn, we all are using various social media platform, or we all are using a Ola, Uber, Google Map, we all are using a weather forecasting, we all try to perform like a, or we all try to do a forecasting, or maybe a kind of a prediction in a banking, or maybe in a finance domain, or maybe I'll talk about a healthcare. So in a current situation, in a COVID-19 situation, so even in this kind of a situation, so every government is trying to use data as efficiently as possible, so that they will be able to predict and forecast a new mark for a COVID-19, or how it is going to affect an entire population in what circle. Apart from that, so they are even using a data, they are even using a image data to find out a protein simulation of a COVID-19 virus, so that they will be able to find out a medicine. So whether it's a research, whether it's finding a drugs for a particular disease, or whether I will be talking about a prediction and forecasting. So everywhere we are trying to use a data. Now, if we are able to use this data efficiently in a correct direction by using a correct channel, so we will be able to build for sure a particular product which can save, or which can like which can be efficient, or which can be effective for many different kind of use cases, or it can solve a many problem of a humankind. This is what we try to do with the help of data. And this is where data science comes into a picture, where we try to understand, a relationship between the data. So data science is nothing but if we are able to derive some kind of a relation in between a data. So we can say that, okay, fine. So we will be able to do some kind of a prediction, some kind of a forecasting. Now, when it comes to a relation, so how we try to derive a relations basically. So relations we can try to derive in terms of a mathematics, or mathematics in terms of maybe we can use certain kind of equations, and we can try to derive a relationship in terms of a correlations, or maybe we can try to use a deep learning concept, or maybe we can try to use a reinforcement learning concept, where it will try to find out a correlations between the data by using hit and trial, or by taking all the permutation combinations of a data, and then finally it will be able to do some kind of a prediction or some kind of forecasting for me. And this is what we are going to talk about. So it's not like we were not using a data maybe a 50-year back, or maybe 100-year back. Yes, we have been using these data even 15-year back, or 20-year back, or maybe 100-year back. But at that point of a time, I would say, so we were not having that much of a data. We were not having a billion or trillion terabyte, zettabyte, or petabyte of a data. But in recent year, in last 20 years, I would say, so as our IT infrastructure is expanding, so we have started collecting a data. We all know that whenever you go to any of the website, maybe it's a Google, or maybe it's a iNeuron website, or maybe it's a Taxila website, or maybe it's a, I would say, a Gmail, or maybe a Flipkart or Amazon. So everyone, or each and every person is trying to, or each and every website, I would say, is trying to collect a data just to analyze your pattern, just to find out the analytics, that what is a user behavior basically. And based on user behavior, so for sure I will be able to do a user targeting. So again, even over there into sales and marketing, we all are using a data. So everyone is trying to use a data. But the real game is, or the real business is, if we are able to use this data efficiently, then for sure we will be able to reach out to a correct customer at correct, or at a particular point of a time, which will be able to generate a business. And I think this is what MBA person does. So MBA person is responsible, a person who always try to do a master in business administration or business management. So their prime responsibility is to generate a business, I would say. And unless and until you are not going to talk about, you're not going to study about, you're not going to find a relationship about a data, so for sure you can't become a better business manager. whether it's a supply chain business, whether it's a retail business or finance or banking or maybe an operations or maybe a healthcare or whatever business you can talk about. Without a data, you will not be able to make a decision at all. And this is what I will be talking about. So as per my experience, so I have worked into many different kind of a project. So a many different kind of project like a security, surveillance, and a supply chain, I would say healthcare, insurance domain. So in these domains, I have been contributing in past couple of years as a data scientist, and we have been exploring lots. We have been building a lot of pipelines, insights or maybe analytics we have done. So I will be talking about those things in brief for sure, with respect to our architecture that we have followed, with respect to our insights or the use cases that we have derived so far, so forth. And then you will be able to understand that importance of AI. Basically, then you will be able to understand that, okay, fine. So what is the importance of AI? What is called as an AI? Because many people think that AI is something like a magic, or like it can do a magic. Yes, it can do, but if you are going to use a data in an effective way, then only you will be able to build an AI system which can do a lot for you as a machine. So it can do even better than a human being. But yes, first of all, you will have to understand your data. Without that, you will not be able to build even a single analytics tool or even a single AI system, or you will not be able to make a decision. And this is where our business managers comes into a picture all the time with respect to a different kind of a domain. Now, so the third point, which I have mentioned over here, that AI versus ML versus DL versus data science. So artificial intelligence versus machine learning versus deep learning versus data science. Now, what is a meaning of that? What is the meaning of that basically over here? So we will try to understand all of those correlations, because many people gets confused that, okay, so whether I'm talking about a AI or whether I should get into a ML or whether I should get into a DL or maybe a data science. So all of these four areas is actually correlated to each other. It's not like these areas are separate. So I will be giving you a complete understanding about AI or machine learning or a deep learning or a data science. And then uses of AI. So how effectively we can use AI into our industry. And then I will be talking about my own product over here. So let's talk about this AI in a first place. What is AI? And then how we can try to use these things effectively and efficiently. So Rajat, can I enable my pen? I'm not able to get an annotation option over here. Rajat, am I audible? Okay, so fine. Let's try to talk about this over here. So what is AI? And how we can use this particular, how we can make use of this particular AI things over here. So let's suppose I have a data. Let's suppose I'm trying to pull a data from your Google map. So I have to, so whenever you will try to search for okay, fine. So I have to go from a point X location to point Y location, let's suppose. So whenever I will try to search for that point Y location, so it will try to give me a path, a optimized route in between a point X to a point Y location. That is one thing. Then on top of that, so it will try to tell me that, okay, so this is the time that you are going to take if you are trying to travel through a bus or maybe a car or maybe a bike or maybe if you are going by walk, basically. So how it is able to give you a prediction, how it is able to give you a forecasting about a time or maybe about a route, that in this route, so in this particular place you are going to face some kind of a traffic. So basically, or even Google has released a new application, so where you will be able to find out that what is a traffic you are going to face even a next Friday, or maybe a next Saturday, or maybe a next Sunday, or maybe after 1 month. So what is a traffic that you will be able to get? So how they are able to make this kind of a prediction, or how they are able to make this kind of a forecasting. So let's try to understand it. So here, they have been collecting a data since a very long time. I would say since last 10 year, 20 year or 15 year, they are collecting a data. And while collecting a data, so collecting a data means what? So they are trying to collect all the activities that we used to do. So many people, millions of people have used this Google map to travel from point X location to point one Y location, and in between a weekdays or maybe in between a weekends or maybe day and night, each and every time. They have collected all of those data even now. So whenever you try to put your Google map on, so they try to collect a data. They try to collect each and every GPS coordinate, latitude and longitude. So if I have all the data with me, what I can do is, so I will be able to, so what I can do is, so somehow if I'm able to find out a correlation that, okay, I'm traveling from point X to point Y, and this is the time which has taken. So maybe tomorrow at the same point of a time with a same traffic condition, I can take maybe a plus minus 1 or 2 minutes. But yes, I'm going to take almost a similar amount of a time. Maybe in a weekend, so I will be able to take a little bit less amount of a time as compared to a weekdays, because traffic condition will be less over there. So this is the kind of a product which will be, this is the kind of a product so which will be able to predict and forecast something. So when by using a data, if we are able to build or if we are able to manufacture some kind of a product which will be able to do a prediction, which will be able to do a forecasting for us, so we can say that that is called as a artificial intelligence. So AI is nothing but, you will say, so AI is nothing but it's a product. It's a product that we use to build, which will be able to do a prediction, which will be able to do a forecasting for me. So that falls under artificial intelligence. Artificial intelligence is not a science, basically. If we are able to build a product, then final product is called as a AI. Final product is called as a artificial intelligence. Let's suppose if I'm going to use Ola or Uber application. So whenever you will try to set your destination, so it will try to project a price as well, that okay, fine, so this is the cost which I'm going to, this is the cost which is going to come on you. And if you are traveling from this location to this location at this particular point of a time. But if I'll talk about a same Ola Uber application 2 years back, so these applications was not there. They were just trying to forecast, or they were just trying to predict, I would say, a distance as well as a timing it is going to take. But nowadays they are able to predict a price as well, that okay, fine, so this is the charge I'm going to take for this particular point till this particular point. So again, this is a problem of a prediction and forecasting. So they have collected a data, they have regressed a data, and they have built a final product, which is an AI product, I would say, which will be able to do a prediction and forecasting automatically. So AI is not a science, I would say. AI is basically a product. Again, you might have seen in your Google Gmail, basically in a Gmail, you might have seen that just 1 year back. So you might have seen in a Gmail, a Google, that just 1 year back, right? So just 1 year back, so you were not able to get a prediction or forecasting for your mail. But nowadays, whenever you receive a mail, so automatically it is going to give you a reply, auto reply, saying that, okay, fine, so this is a summary of the mail and this is the reply that you can give. You might have observed that one. So this was not available before that. So nowadays, Google has implemented a BERT in a backend. So bidirectional encoder representation from transformer. This is an algorithm that has been implemented in a backend. Based on that, it tried to understand the entire context, and then it tried to give you a prediction or forecasting of those words that you are able to see. So again, it's an AI application that we are using. Let's talk about a WhatsApp. So whenever you are going to type my name or your name for the first time, so for sure, it is not going to give you a prediction. It is not going to suggest you that, okay, fine, so after typing SUD, so it should be SUDHANSHU. Or if you're going to type your email ID, so it is not going to give you a prediction. But once you will be able to type your name or my name, maybe 3 to 4 times. So after that, it will start giving you a prediction. So again, we are using a prediction and forecasting based system over there in your WhatsApp. So this is all about like a general use cases in almost every application that you are going to see or you are going to use. In every application we are using AI, or I can say all of those applications has implemented some of the tools or technique based on the data which is responsible for doing prediction and forecasting. So AI is nothing but it's a product if we are able to build by using a variety of technique. Now inside a AI, a core component is machine learning, I would say deep learning, or you can say a data science. So data science is nothing but, so whenever we will be able to understand a data, if we are able to find out some relations, because what machine does, it try to find out a relation. If we are able to find out a relation somehow in some manner, so I can say that okay fine, I'm able to understand a science of a data set for sure. So let's talk about an example. So suppose I have an organization, and if I have to do maybe a prediction and forecasting of a revenue, that okay, so this is the investment which I'm going to make, and this is a prediction that this is the prediction that I have, that okay fine, so I will be able to like generate this much of revenue by using XYZ factor and a market. So there what we try to do, so we always try to understand our historical data, we always try to understand our current marketing trend. So okay, so if we are trying to target XYZ market, so what is a behavior of those market, we try to understand not only our data in that case, so we try to understand a behavior of a market as well. If we are able to understand our data, and if we are able to understand a behavior of a market, for sure I will be able to make some kind of a prediction, I will be able to make some kind of a forecasting in a effective, efficient way, by which I will be able to grow my business. And this is where a data science comes into a picture. And again, so data can be available in a form of a table, in a form of a images, in a
Sudhanshu,
form of a sound,
one second.
in a, yeah.
Sudhanshu,
Yeah.
1 second. We have given you the host access. You can use the pen pointer now. Just check it out once.
Okay, so no, Chris, I think I'm not able to get this option.
Also, you can make Krish again co-host.
Uh, you want me to take co-host? Just a second. Co-host option is gone, bro.
Yeah, I think I will be able to make you a co-host or host.
Yeah. Co-host, you just make a co-host and just check out whether you are able to use the pen pointer or not.
Okay. No, Chris, I think I'm not able to use it.
Okay, fine. Not a problem. Continue.
Fine, I'll just manage. Okay, not an issue. Okay, yeah, guys. So basically, like I was talking about a data science. So like I said that in case of a data science, right? So we always try to find out a relationship between the data. So data can be available in any format. It can be available into a text format. It can be available into maybe a tabular format, maybe Excel sheet of a data, maybe a data that you can pull from some server, from some system, or maybe in a form of an image, maybe in a form of a sound. So it can be available in any of these formats if you are able to find out a relation. Because when we talk about a data science, so in every classes I used to show them that okay, so it's nothing but it's finding a relations. When we talk about a machine learning and deep learning, so now machine learning and deep learning comes into a picture which helps our data to find out a relations. So this is the relations that you will be able to get. So first of all, AI is nothing but it's a product. If we are able to build some kind of a product which will be able to do some kind of a prediction, some kind of a forecasting, we used to say that okay fine, this is the AI product. So like a Gmail, like a WhatsApp, so people have integrated these things like a prediction weather forecasting application. So again, it's an AI product. I would say people are using AI into a backend now. So we used to build this AI product by using a core component. So core component as a data science, nothing but understanding a data. Now to understand a relationship between a data, So you need a knowledge of a machine learning and a deep learning. So if you have a experience, expertise, knowledge about a machine learning and deep learning, so you will be able to understand a relationship between a data set by using some kind of a equation or some kind of I would say a neural network. So there are various equation which is available, or there are various kind of a neural network which is available, which always helps you out to understand a data size. Now again, on your level, on a management level, you're not supposed to explore all those things in terms of a technicality. So there are a platform, even we have built a couple of platform, and there are other peoples as well, other organizations as well, who have built a platform. You just have to dump your data. You just have to give your understanding about a data to the system, and then system will try to give you a prediction, forecasting, or system will try to give you some kind of insights, saying that, okay, fine, so this is a relations which I'm able to find out. Now you can try to decide that what kind of a decision you are going to make. So these kind of platforms are available, but as a management a person, so you should understand and you must understand that, okay, fine, so how my data set is behaving, how with my data set other marketing trend or maybe other XYZ factors is going to behave, and then only you will be able to derive a proper use cases out of the data which can help your organization at any point of a time. Now if I'll talk about a domain, now before moving to a domain, so as I was talking about data, so let's talk about like a few of the videos, so where I'm going to show you that how we are using a data and what kind of a product that we have built based on the data. So we have many more industrial grade product that we have built, we have deployed for doing a different kind of a forecasting, for different kind of a prediction. But here, so we will try to give you a demo of only those product or only those things which is related to a image or videos, because you will be able to understand it easily within like a fraction of second, I would say. So here we have built a high performance facial recognition system. So you will be able to find out that with the help of drone, so we are trying to find out, again, this, whenever we talk about a drone, so this drone is not a stable one, right? But it is trying to take an image feed, it is trying to take a video feed, a frames, it is trying to take a multiple frames into a single second, it is trying to take, and we are trying to process this data into a real time, and then based on that we are able to identify a person as a person, I would say. So this is something that we have tested in our office itself, and now we have a full-fledged, I would say, attendance system which we have deployed in many government institute, I would say, or in many schools or in many companies. We have deployed a same thing. So we have done this particular operations, and it was a high performing system which will be able to maybe take 10 frame or 20 frame per second, and which will be able to do a prediction forecasting into a real time. Apart from that, so we have built many different system as well. So let's talk about this object detection system, so which we have built. So in case of object detection, the system is responsible for identifying any kind of object. As you can see, again, it's a high performing system that we have built, which will be able to identify any kind of object which is available in this entire world, and based on that you will be able to perform a different kind of operation. For example, if I'll talk about a self-driven car, right? So just like a human being, so whenever we are trying to drive a car, so if we are going to see some kind of an object, so we try to take an action. Suppose if we are able to see some kind of a bricks or maybe some kind of a stone in front of our car, so maybe we can try to override. But at the same point of a time, if we are going to see a human being, if we are able to see a kids or maybe like a cat or something, if we are able to see, so in that case we will try to apply a brake. Now this is the same kind of a things which I will be expecting from my self-driven car as well. Now to detect all of those things in a real time, to detect all of those things into a real time, so I need a high performing system which will be able to localize or which will be able to detect each and everything, and then based on that, so it will be able to take an action. And this is what we have built, and this is what we have done over here, so that it will be able to like detect, it will be able to identify, and it will be able to take an action immediately based on the objects and based on the logic that we are going to write. But again, it's a AI which is responsible for detecting a hand, or maybe even for a helmet detection. So this is the hand detection use cases. There is a use cases called as helmet detection. So we all know that in India, so government used to invest a lot to maintain a traffic in almost all metropolitan city, and even into tier 2 or tier 3 cities basically. And we all know that what is the kind of a corruption we always try to face. So what if we can build a system which will be able to detect, which will be able to identify a helmet, if people is wearing that helmet or not. If a person is not wearing a helmet, so if a person is not wearing a helmet, so in that case it should be able to localize a number plate, and that system also we have built. So here you will be able to find out that if person is not wearing a helmet, so it will try to localize a number plate, and then it will try to extract each and every information from the vehicle automatically. So this is again one of the portal that we have built, where so you can go, you can try to test it, and then you will be able to find out that it is able to understand each and every number plate, and based on that, so it is going to give you a report. It is even going to give you that, okay, so what is a chassis number, what is a engine number, what is a registration number, each and everything you will be able to find out into a real time if you are able to locate a number plate. So even we were trying to solve a traffic problem with the help of helmet detection plus with the help of number plate, so that I don't need a traffic police immediately whenever it will try to find out that, okay, so whenever it will try to find out that, okay, so there is a violation. So if you're trying to violate, at any point of a time any kind of a rule, so automatically it will try to, I would say, like take an action, and it will try to send you a challan that, okay, so you have violated our policy, and this is a challan that you have to fill. So again, this kind of things we used to build in case of AI. So there are many more products that we have built, I would say, in terms of like a different industries: security, surveillance, healthcare, retail, supply chain, maybe insurance domain, or a different kind of a industry. So this is what I'm trying to represent in this particular place. So use cases wise, you will not find even a single industry in this entire world. Just name one single industry which is not using AI somehow. So here I have just named few of the industry, because I don't want to fill this entire slide with that name basically. So here I have filled like a banking and finance, a human resources, a retail, insurance claim, maybe like I would say optimization of the operations management, or maybe a customer oriented marketing, which is called as a context based marketing nowadays. So in every domain, in every area, we are using AI somehow, we are using a data science somehow, we are using, I would say, like machine learning or a deep learning, or maybe we are using a data analytics somehow, for sure. So in every area, and I will be talking about that in brief, for sure. So in brief, so there is no industry, none of the industry you will be able to find out in this entire world which is not using AI in any of their area. Everyone is trying to make a investment into that, and they are trying to make use of a data set, I would say. Now here, so we have mentioned some architecture or some kind of a flow, so that we will be able to explain you a work that we used to do in terms of a AI. So here you will be able to find out that this is a architecture of a supply chain, and here I'm just going to give you a brief idea about a component. So whenever you are going to talk about a data science, or whenever you are going to talk about a AI, so first of all, data comes into a picture. So again, data wise, you will be able to get a data from the various sources. So data sources will not be a single one. It can be your local database, it can be your SQL or NoSQL databases, it can be a SAP system, it can be a SaaS system, it can be a satellite, it can be a sensor, it can be a AWS cloud, or Azure cloud, or a GCP cloud, or a Pivotal cloud, or maybe IBM Bluemix, or maybe Alibaba cloud, or maybe a Oracle cloud. So every time we try to get a data, because without data we can't do any kind of a operation. So every time we try to get a data in a first place, and then on top of that, so we try to define the ingestion mechanism, that okay, so if this is a data I'm able to get, so maybe I will be able to get a real-time data, which we call as a streaming data. If we are trying to get a data from the sensor, like Google used to stream a data from your GPS location by using your GPS location from your mobile, basically. So that is basically streaming data. So we try to ingest all of those data. So it could be a streaming, it could be a real time, it could be a near real time, it can be a batch of the data. So we try to ingest a data first of all in our system. Now, so on top of that, so we try to do a data processing, because that is important, because whatever data you are going to generate is not important data for me. So maybe I just need a few attributes or maybe a few parameters out of the data which I have. So this is what we use to handle into a data pre-processing layer, guys. Here you will be able to find out a data pre-processing. So here we try to process a data so that I will be able to use only those set of a data which is required to build my AI application. That's it. It's not like I will be able to ingest all the data. It means I will be able to use all the data. No, it's not possible at any point of a time. Then on top of that, so we try to define a storage, that okay, fine, so we have pre-processed a data, and then where I'm supposed to store this particular data after a pre-processing. And on top of that, so we try to implement analytics, or I can say we try to implement a AI algorithm. So again, as a business manager, you are not supposed to worry about these things. You are just supposed to give insights about a data set, insights about like all the columns or all the rows that you are going to find out inside the data. So if you are able to give this kind of insights to the person, so they will be able to build, or they will be able to perform some kind of a statistical analysis, and they will be able to build a solution which can be used for doing a prediction and forecasting. Based on that, you will be able to take a decision. So this is where a core AI concepts comes into a picture. Yes, if you have understanding about the AI, that is well and good. For sure, you will be able to build this kind of a system by yourself. And again, when it comes to building this AI solution, sometime, or I would say 50% of the time, it's not that tough. Yes, it will be tough to like learn AI, I would say, sometime in some of the domain, like suppose like I'm talking about a reinforcement learning. So maybe that area can be a tough. But if I'll talk about a machine learning, anyone can learn. Anyone can learn machine learning. Anyone can learn data analytics, I would say. Anyone can be able to understand a statistical concept of a data set. And then you will be able to build your own system which can be used for doing a prediction, which can be used for doing a forecasting. So this area is depends, I would say. This area depends. So complexity wise, so maybe sometime in a easiest possible way, you will be able to build your solution. And sometime it takes maybe a time, it takes lots of understanding about the algorithm, about a data and XYZ factor, which is associated with the data. So for example, so if I have to perform a prediction and forecasting about a stock, so it's completely fine. I will be able to do a prediction forecasting about a stock price. Let's suppose if I'm talking about a Reliance Infra stock, if I'm talking about, let's suppose if I have to do a prediction forecasting about a Reliance Infra stock. So based on the historical data, based on the historical trend of the Reliance Infra stock, for sure, I will be able to give you a number that at this point of a time, so this is a price that you can expect. But will that be a correct one? No, I can't say that. That won't be a correct one if we are just using a historical data. If we are just using the historical data, because yes, I have a data set from last 5 years, I can use it and I can try to do a prediction forecasting about a Reliance Infra stock. But no, that particular factor will not be sufficient enough at that point of a time. Because if I'll talk about a stock market, so stock price doesn't depend only on a historical price. It depends upon the current investment. It depends upon geospatial factor, I would say. So like in case of this kind of a situation, a COVID-19 kind of a situation, so for sure some of the stock is going high. If I'll talk about education, if I'll talk about maybe some kind of a retail, a specific retail industry, so these stocks are going high. But if I'll talk about a manufacturing, it is going down, I would say. If I'll talk about a telecommunication, yes, it is going high in this lockdown. But if I'll talk about maybe like other consumer products, it is going down. So basically, your price prediction forecasting not only depends upon your historical data, so it depends upon basically other XYZ external factor as well. So suppose if I'm trying to do a prediction forecasting of a stock, so I'll have to consider, I would say, external factors like a government policies that they are going to make, a geospatial factor I will have to understand. I'll have to understand an investment as well. I'll have to understand our competitors as well. I would say I'll have to correlate these things with the global market if there is a dependency. So if unless and until I'm not able to pull out those data, and unless and until I'm not going to correlate my external XYZ factor data with my historical data, for sure I will not be able to do a correct stock prediction or forecasting. So many people you will see that they used to do a prediction forecasting about a stock, that is completely fine, but 100% accurate result you will not be able to get unless and until you are not going to consider this XYZ factor. That's the reason. So this business people come into a picture, because this business people always try to understand, or they always understand the domain. They always understand that, okay, so with respect to my domain, what in all XYZ factors which is associated or which is related. And you guys are going to guide a people that, okay, so it's my business basically, and my business related with this XYZ businesses or XYZ factor. So whenever you're trying to do a prediction, whenever you're trying to do a forecasting, so don't try to consider only your historical data. Try to consider these factors as well, because there is a dependencies of XYZ factor. Like in case of a stock prediction, so investment is another factor, government policy is another factor, geospatial factors is another factor, natural calamity is another factor. So there are many different factors that you will be able to find out, except and apart from your historical data set. So this is where a business domain experts comes into a picture. They understand their business, and based on that they try to give a suggestions to the people that, okay, so you are going to make a prediction, but use this. Now, so this is what we do in terms of an analytical layer or the functional repository. So where you guys are going to define a functionality that, okay, fine, so this is what I'm supposed to understand, or this is what you are supposed to consider. Now on top of that, so there will be a presentation layer. So you might have heard about a Tableau, or maybe a Power BI, or maybe a ClickView. So where we try to generate insights. So once I will be able to get my final data, so on top of that, so we try to give insights in a dashboard, so that it will be easier for a higher authority, or it will be easier for my higher management to understand a trend. And based on that, they will be able to make a decision. I can't ask my manager that, okay, fine, so do one thing, go into a database and try to check insights. So we always try to build a beautiful insights of data, and then based on that, so my manager will be able to take a decision, my manufacturing plant will be able to make a decision, or maybe my colleague will be able to make a decision. And this is what we do in terms of a presentation. So presentation wise, I have just mentioned a Tableau over here, but presentation wise, it could be a web application, it could be a mobile application, it could be a Tableau, or it could be a Power BI, it could be a ClickView. There are another hundreds of presentation tools are available. You can try to use any of these. But whenever we talk about any kind of a AI solution, all of these factors, these layers step by step, starting from bottom to top, comes into a picture, starting from the data source till a presentation. This is a generic overview. It's not like you are going to use a exact same layers all the time. Maybe you can try to add some more layer, maybe you can try to subtract some of the layer, but whenever you are going to build some kind of product, for sure you are going to use these layers, and based on that itself you will be able to build a AI product, like we have already discussed in our last slide. So finally, if I am able to build a product which will be able to do a prediction forecasting of a stock, I can say that that is an AI product I have built by understanding my data, which comes into a data science, by using a technique or algorithm from a machine learning or from a deep learning. So this is how you will be able to correlate the entire circle, I would say. So fine, this is again, I'm talking about a banking, I would say. So we have been working into a many like a we have been working with many different kind of banking clients, and we have developed many different kind of a product which can help a bank. So which can help a bank to in terms of processing a, like I would say, processing a checks, in terms of open up accounts, in terms of processing a loan, in terms of home loan or maybe a vehicle loan. So in this term, so we have built a different kind of a solution now. Or on top of that, so we have even helped people to find out a risk, basically. So whenever bank is going to give you a loan, so before giving you a loan, each and every bank used to calculate a risk. So what if people or person will not be able to pay it back? What if something is going, so like something wrong which is going to happen? So in that case, I'm supposed to be aware about those factors, and I'm supposed to be able to make a decision, or I should be able to make some kind of action. So this is what we used to do in case of a banking. So here you will be able to find out that we have worked into a credit card, a lots and lots of a credit card forecasting prediction, that whom I should release a credit card, what should be the amount, or what should be the credit limit for the credit card. Again, for the loan in terms of, we have been working for a vehicle loan, we have been working for, I would say, like a vehicle and a home loan in general, and accounting. So what is a liability that I have, and then how I will be, what my forecasting is saying about a liability, and what is a risk factor which is involved with respect to a loan or something which I'm going to release to the market, basically. Again, with respect to audit, so we have built a many different kind of application. So here you will be able to find out that fraud detection, default detection, so all those things we use to find out inside a audit. So again, audit is like a hectic task that we all used to perform, but by using an AI system, so we have made these things easy for some of the banks. Again, for insurance, so yes, even insurance, whenever we try to give through a bank for some kind of a loan, because whenever you will go and you will purchase buy a home loan, so for sure they used to offer you a insurance from a bank itself. So bank will be having a different division which try to insure your loans. So even we were trying to calculate a risk over there, because unless and until I will not be able to find out a risk factor, how I will be able to give you a loan, or how I will be able to give you a insurance. So many things we have implemented in case of a banking system architecture, which for sure we'll talk about whenever we'll try to get into a entire end-to-end data analytics course. But here, yes, this is what we were trying to do. Now, if I'll talk about a human resource management, so again, for office management, for a workforce management, for the warehousing management, so we have built a different kind of a vision-based tool, I would say. So where we were trying to do video analytics, where we were trying to do image processing, where we were trying to do activity tracking. So activity tracking wise, I would like to show you a video over here. So that is called as a post detection. Yeah. So here you will be able to find out that we are able to detect a poses of a person. So this is a similar kind of a things we have implemented into a warehouse. So this will be able to detect any kind of activities, I would say. And again, this is me like trying to test like a gesture, a different kind of a gestures, basically, like whether I'm trying to do a thumbs up, thumbs down, and all those things. So we have been building a system, we have been building our solutions, which will be able to detect a different kind of activities, and based on that, my system will be able to take a decision. So this is like a video when we were like trying to test this particular thing: swipe up, swipe left, thumbs up, thumbs down, many gestures. So almost with the 16-17 gestures, we have trained our machine, and then it was able to identify, it was able to detect it, so that we will be able to control many things in our environment. So we'll try to define a use cases, we'll talk about that so in a upcoming session, so for sure. But yes, this is what we have done, this is what we have been doing apart from this kind of a pose or activity recognition. So here you will be able to find out that I'm able to detect each and every poses, and it is having a lots and lots of significance in terms of a AI industry, in terms of a analytics industry. So if I'm able to detect a pose, I will be able to find out that, okay, so whether your activity is a legal, it's a illegal, or maybe you're not doing a work, maybe you're trying to do something else. And this is what we have used in this HRM system, so human resource management system. So here it will keep on monitoring you, here it will keep on watching you, and based on that, so it will try to do an entire workforce management in a real time. It is going to tell me that, okay, so what user or like who is trying to do like a work or who is not working. So if I have to generate a report of an entire week, if I wanted to know that, okay, fine, so in this entire week, what was your productivity, I don't have to monitor you, I don't have to watch each and every time a particular person. So automatically it will try to monitor a person, and then it will try to give me insights at the end of the week, or maybe at the end of the month, or at the end of the year when I'm going to give a appraisal. So this is what happens in case of a workforce management. So it's a surveillance system which will keep, or which will try to do a surveillance on each and every one of you. Now, so this is a system which we have been using into many of the warehouses, basically, because there are lots and lots of laborers used to work, and it's very difficult to maintain and manage those laborers. And keeping these things in our mind, so to manage our workforce, we have built this particular system and we have installed it. Now again, for employee activity tracking, for sure you will be able to use our same system again. So if I'll talk about like employee wellness program, so again here we try to do a different kind of a survey in this particular place, and we try to generate a sentiments of our employee. So if for all the big organization, and if sentiment says that, okay, fine, so everything is going good, in that case it's completely fine. But if sentiment says in some division, because in a company, in a big organization, there will be a multiple divisions that you will be able to find out. So if sentiment says that, okay, so employees are not happy or something, so we try to predict and forecast that, okay, so what is the steps that we are supposed to take, what should be the next step that we are supposed to take. So in almost entire HR system, so starting from a resource onboarding till offboarding, starting from a workforce management, employee management, project deployment, everywhere we are using AI as some of the use cases, I would say, into a real time. And it's not only us, everyone is using AI, I would say, nowadays, almost in every application in a backend. Now again, so if I'll talk about the insurance claim, yes, we use to perform or look like to detect a fraud detection, or to find out that, okay, fine, so what is the competitive price for a particular insurance that I should offer to the customer, or to do a customer acquisition. So everywhere you will be able to find out that people are using AI. So whether it's an insurance claim, or whether it's a fraud analytics of an insurance, or customer onboarding of that insurance, giving a best possible price into a market to the customer for a particular insurance, everywhere we do a prediction, everywhere we try to do a forecasting, and based on that, so we try to process these things, I would say. So again, inside the insurance domain, yes, we are using AI. And in tomorrow's session, so I will be talking about these things in very detail. As of now, I'm just trying to give you a brief idea about a banking, and then human resource, and insurance. But in tomorrow's class, so this is what we do in our data science architecture overview, so that you will be able to understand use cases with respect to a variety of the domain. So today I'm just going to give you a brief idea that how we are going to use it, so that at least you will be aware about a name. In tomorrow's class, I will try to unwrap this entire architecture layer by layer, and then I'll get into a specific discussion with respect to each and every domain, and then we'll try to derive a specific use cases at same point of a time. So again, insurance is one thing, and if I'll talk about a retail and supply chain, this is one of my domain, or one of my area where I have contributed a lot. So almost in insurance, security, surveillance, yes, I have contributed, but most of the time I have spent into a supply chain and a retail, or I can say in a FMCG domain. So for sure, I will be talking about a back order. I will be talking about a spike order, logistic management, order management, and manufacturing plant management, investment management. So I will be talking about many things over here into a retail and supply chain. I will be talking about a business, how it behaves, how it works, how it generates a profit, basically, where is a possibility that you can be in a loss. So with respect to one particular example, so generally, I have worked for a Mercedes-Benz Japan for some of the time, for a couple of months, almost for 9 months, for one project where we have delivered end to end. So I will be talking about that particular project with respect to a retail and a supply chain, so that you will be able to understand end to end a complete flow about a retail and supply chain, that how for predicting and forecasting a number of a order, we use AI. How, so whenever you are going to order something, so to find out a probability of cancellation of the product that you have ordered, how we can use AI, that is called as a order cancellation. How we'll be able to deal with a back order, a backlog in a retail and supply chain. How I will be able to understand a spike into an order. Spike means, so recently, so in a COVID-19 situation, you must have seen that this there was a huge spikes that we have observed in a demand. So with respect to a demand of a mask N95 or a sanitizer, so it was a spike, and we for a couple of weeks, so yes, we all were facing a problem. We were not able to get a sanitizer, we were not able to get a mask, basically. So how I will be able to predict, or how because every industry does that. So every industry, how, so they always try to predict or forecast a spike into some of the inventory, some of the asset, and based on that they try to prepare themselves. So this is what I will be talking about. I will be talking about fulfillment. I will be talking about logistics. I will be talking about optimized route analysis. I will be talking about optimized container analysis. So these are the things which falls inside retail and supply chain business, and I will be giving you an overview about all of those things. Depends upon the data that we used to generate from maybe a mobile application, maybe from a website, maybe through a telephonic call, or maybe through some third-party vendor, or maybe through a social media platform, I would say, or maybe interaction with the customer, directly or indirectly. So based on those data, so how we are building this kind of a system, we'll be talking about that in our tomorrow's class in very detail. This is our retail and supply chain. Security surveillance is the another kind of exercise that we have. Most of our videos that we have published, it belongs to a security surveillance a use case itself. So in case of a security surveillance, whether I'm talking about a household security, whether I'm talking about a warehouse security, or maybe I'm talking about a remote surveillance with the help of drone. So we have proven all of those capabilities in each and every area. So in case of a security and surveillance, I will be talking about a multiple use cases, like a people counting, threat identification, unauthorized activity recognition, I would say. So the unwanted basically, if you're trying to park a car, but if you have parked your car into a no parking, how I will be able to detect that particular situation, and based on that I can take an action. So maybe some work is going on in a remote area, and without going over there, how I will be able to monitor and maintain. Suppose there is a oil and gas pipeline. So how I will be able to maintain oil and gas pipeline in a remote area where human being will not be able to travel. Suppose if we have to find out or if I have to like monitor a dam, or maybe dam basically which we used to build on a rivers and windmills basically, or maybe a natural disaster management, so in which how I will be able to use these security and surveillance solution. So I will be talking about those things in case of a security and surveillance. Now, so here we have mentioned some of our link. So live stream facial recognition with the help of drone, or maybe object detection, autonomous attendance system, automatic number plate detection. So each and everything you will be able to find out on our portal. And then for sure, so like for sure, whatever you are looking for, yes, you will be able to explore in this particular place. So there are many videos that we have posted over here. And apart from videos, so if you will go to our website iNeuron.ai, so you will be able to find out many different things as well. So you will be able to find out like a variety of operation, variety of observation over here. So you will be able to find out like a product section, you will be able to find out a academic section. So if you will go to a product section, you will be able to find out that we have given a multiple product overview, and we have given a multiple APIs models, which will help you out to understand that how we are using this AI into a fashion industry, into a security and surveillance industry, into a traffic industry, warehousing industry. So these are the context which we are going to like discuss in your tomorrow's class in very detail, one by one. So how we actually build a solution. When I say that okay, I'm going to build a AI solution, so what we actually do over here, and as a management guy, so how you will be able to contribute basically, and what is our roles and responsibility of a management. Because many people think that if I have studied management, so AI is basically all about algorithm or statistics. So how I will be able to use my skill set over there. But no, I won't agree with that. Management plays a vital role. Understanding of a business always plays a vital role across our industry, whether it's a supply chain, retail, insurance, or healthcare industry. So every time we need a person, we need a people for sure who understands that particular domain, that particular business in a best possible way, so that it will help me out to build a technical solution which will be able to make some actionable differences. So that's the reason. So we need a guy who is having a domain expertise. We need a management guys, I would say. So fine, now, so I think it's time to take some
let's take
questions.
some questions which are there.
Yeah.
Krish, you can join if you want to join. You're there.
Yeah, I'm also there.
Right. Okay, Chris. So the basic question which would be for the students is what is the career options they'll have, right? That is something which we can discuss about. We discussed about a lot of industries and how we can work, and we are working in various industries like insurance and retail and surveillance, and the new technologies like drone which will come and help us out, right? So what are the steps the students should take to the starting point?
So,
right
I'll
now?
give you an example, a perfect example. Probably when I and Sudhanshu were working for E&Y, one of our clients was Unilever. So in Unilever, whenever the project is actually initiated, they were initiated from project managers, program managers, and those managers were like kind of domain expertise person. They were basically having the product owner position altogether. Apart from that, they were also like acting like an analytics manager. So there are various roles when we consider for a management guy. Product owner is one, domain expertise is one, analytics manager is one. Analytics manager is the kind of person who handles every data scientist, data analyst, big data engineers, where they are actually working together, and the final aim is actually to deliver the product to the stakeholders. So considering this, yes, a lot of opportunities, and trust me, analytics manager, when I'm saying, it is a very rare role. Hardly I've seen very much less roles in the real world IT industries right now. And that kind of roles the companies are looking at.
So what we have also been seeing is in last 2 years or 3 years, right? Companies like S&P Global, companies like P&G, companies like HUL, HUL when they come to our campus last year, and S&P Global hiring students at a package which is higher than the normal market rates, right?
Yes.
So the paying capacity for these companies for the right kind of data scientist is like there is no limit in those, right?
Yes.
So what kind of skill sets these students and the participants should develop out now in terms of right? One is what we are doing and working upon, right? The machine learning and what we are talking about. But what kind of skill set and the mindset you think these people should start working on?
So when I consider this question, I would basically say that now, since they are working on their domain, one is the domain knowledge is pretty much important. And the second one is basically the life cycle of the complete data science project, which is pretty much important, which includes both machine learning techniques, So if they know the whole life cycle, they can definitely handle a whole lot of things. And domain knowledge is the most important in this.
Right. And with the education changing now and global markets and all coming out, right, how it can help to the marketing students in terms of the AI and the decision making processes and all, right? So for the specific specializations, if we talk about, let's say, a student, so for Taxila, we have a business analytics course along with the student takes marketing or finance and HR. So they do three specializations. One is the data analytics, which we have discussed around. So Chris and Sudhanshu will be taking this course as a whole in MBA at Taxila Business School, wherein this will be spread around 6 months, around 150, 160 hours, covering most of the data science workings. So that is how we will be working with them. But for specific sectors like specializations of finance students, right? So how they can relate both and mix data analytics and finance, and then data analytics with marketing, and what's your views on
So
those?
after we learn the basic life cycle of the data science projects, what we mainly focus on to showcase the projects related to their domain. Like as you have given the example of finance, HR, marketing, right? Related to those specific domains, we will try to create wonderful use cases, end-to-end implementation, so they'll get an idea. Apart from that, we'll also be discussing about real-world use cases that are currently in market. So we'll try to discuss both of them, both implementation and both understanding of various use cases itself.
Yeah, so just to add a point into that one. So guys, so tomorrow itself, so we'll be talking about architecture. So some of a question I can see over here where people are asking that how we can utilize this AI. So can you please go into a depth, or can you please talk about layer by layer each and everything? So I can see those questions. So don't worry about that. So in tomorrow's class, I will be talking about like each and everything layer by layer, so that you will be able to understand the actual flow of this entire product that we used to build, and where a domain, where technical knowledge comes into a picture. I'll be talking about that. Yeah.
Chris, also we would like to know, Sudhanshu, the same platform what we are doing here in the AI and all, right? And then the institutes like MIT and other people who are also at a higher level for the AI working, right? So do you see any difference in those along with what we are delivering here? And because the global market is there, right? Students are able to work from here to everywhere else, right? So how it can help those kind of workings, and how we can get the competitive edge, wherein the PM's vision of made in India and focused on India and everything getting developed into India, the technologies, the startup scenario, what we are seeing right now. Like most of the students want to start some of their own businesses, right? The funding opportunities, what we have is very immense right now. With the kind of funding coming in and the stimulations being given across the economy, in US and Europe, and all this money will be flowing back to India also, because we being the manufacturing hub, right? People shifting from China to Vietnam and India, right? So how in this economic opening up will be able to help
So
us,
Okay,
and how to
so
prepare ourselves now?
yeah, so
yeah.
recently due to this COVID-19 situation, now many companies are trying to move towards online technology, online in the digital world itself, let it be e-commerce. You can see that, right? Every company is now making a huge loss. But when we see e-commerce, when we see some online platforms, when we see some education institutes, which are actually going in that digital world, they are making a good amount of progress. So considering this, and probably this will be going for 2 to 3 years. So definitely people are coming up with startup ideas which involves digital internet world, at that time, basically, they will be able to get the funding easily because they just have to pitch the idea in front of others. Uh, Considering this, I think there are a whole lot of opportunities. And as you say that now India is in the right spot of good amount of investment that are coming from anywhere. You can see the cases from China. You can see the cases from Japan, right? Many companies are moving their industries over here. So a lot of opportunities. Anything that you want to add, Sudhanshu, you can go ahead and add.
Yeah, so see, in a recent days, we have seen that because of this pandemic situation, so people have started losing faith in China. So we all know that since last 20 years, so China was a manufacturing hub. So whether we are going to manufacture a small, I would say a needle till big machines, so it's been manufactured by China itself. Whatever mobile phone that we are using, including an Apple mobile phone, so it's been manufactured by a China and by a company called as Foxconn basically. So everything is manufactured by Chinese people. But in a recent days, because of this pandemic situation and because of another strategic changes, political strategic changes which has happened, so these things are shifting. These things is shifting in India, I would say, in last like since last 4 year or 5 year. And now this speed has increased. This momentum has increased in recent days because of this. And many people are supporting India to open up a manufacturing plant. Many companies has already done an investment in India. So for sure, it's a good news for India. And in the next 5 year, in next 4 years, so we'll be able to see that yes, we will be able to manufacture a lots of things, starting from a different kind of a chips, or maybe a simulation devices, or maybe like a lots of mechanical devices. That's one thing. Second thing is, as far as a growth of a business in India is concerned, so even we are a startup, so we are working closely with many other startups as well. So what we have seen is, so yes, many startups, many companies have seen bad days, right? It was like this pandemic situation was not that good for them, not that great for them. But if I'll talk about some of the specific startup related to some of the specific business, so for sure I can talk about maybe a startup which provides internet services. There are many local vendors which try to provide internet services, or a related devices, a related equipments. There is a startup which is trying to provide education. So some of them are like trying to provide education starting from a KG to a 12, or maybe like for a competitive exam, IIT, JEE, or maybe for a MBA, or a technical education. So even they have seen a boom, I would say. Retail industry, if I'll talk about, so again, in case of a retail industry, some of the retail industry has seen a downside. But I would say like most of the product that we used to consume, FMCG products, so they have seen a growth in this pandemic situation. If I'll talk about a industry which used to deliver something from one places to other places, so logistics industry. So logistics, if I'll talk about in terms of like a logistic industry which try to do a shipment for the container, so yes, this companies has seen a fall. But at the same point of a time, if I'll talk about companies which is trying to distribute things locally, so we have seen a huge boom. We have seen a couple of acquisition as well, right? So yes, if I'll talk about a transportation industry, so transportation industry has seen a lots of downside in this pandemic situation, I would say. But yes, there are a education industry, there is a retail industry, there is a telecom industry, there is a digital industry, I would say. So there is a FMCG industry, so which has seen a lot and lots of growth. And because of this new trend that we are following, a work from home trend, yes, so because of that, so people are getting more sophisticated, they need all of those things in their place. So maybe if you are able to think of about some of the startup which will be able to fulfill that particular requirement, for sure it is going to be a successful one. And many people, based on the same theme, based on the same idea, have started the startup and they have secured a huge funding. So that will be my perspective
We
about
have
this situation.
three questions together. I'll club them out. Abhishek Jabuswar. He wants to know, as a mechanical background engineering, right? Without any knowledge of machine language, how suitable it would be for him to pursue MBA in business analytics. Other questions are also on the same line, on how difficult it will be for a commerce student willing to take data analytics MI courses, and what is the current scenario for freshers in the field. And the third question with Nishika is on the same, that without any computer knowledge like Java or Python, how she can understand AI, and how she should start like her MBA in agri business. These are the three questions basically going towards people without any coding skills, people without any kind of engineering skills, right? How easy it would be for them to adopt into these technologies.
So, if I give you a wonderful example, recently I did a podcast, by one of my mechanical engineering student, right? And in that podcast, he has basically said that how he had made his transition. And when Yes, when it comes to programming language, right? Programming language, see, in terms of MBA, if you're planning for doing MBA, I have seen many people who are from non-technical background, non-coding background. But yes, what they have done is that they have, learned some of the things, and they have not learned in depth. See, the main important information is about the domain knowledge. Once you get the domain knowledge, once you understand the life cycle of a data science project, and just a basic knowledge of programming language, it is more of a process that needs to be followed in data science. Some analysis techniques, some business intelligence tool that they basically use. By that, they can definitely be able to do a whole lot of them. Now, when it comes to some of the people who again ask me, Krish, do we need to have an in-depth knowledge of programming language? Understand, guys, when I'm saying you the type of domain that you will be going in, you'll be either a domain expert, a product owner, you will be actually handling a team of data scientists and data analysts. Apart from some basic programming language, if you know all the life cycle of a data science project, I think you will be able to deliver that project pretty much successfully. And one more example I would like to give is that I again had a recently podcast with open source library author. His name is Moiz Ali. So what he has done is he's actually from CA finance background. You can just understand that he's from CA finance background, and he has pretty much focused on the domain knowledge part. And now he's the creator of that library, which is called as PyCarry. And then he says that, okay, you don't have to worry initially about the programming knowledge. Once you have the idea about domain, probably you'll be able to learn those things very, very quickly if you just have the knowledge of the life cycle of a data science project.
Right. A very simple question which is there is by Devjit, and it's a basic fundamental question that what is the difference between data analytics and business analytics?
Sudhanshu, if you want to answer, you can go ahead.
Okay, so see, data analytics means whenever you will try to perform some kind of a statistical analysis, and then you will be able to find out some correlation. That is called as a data analytics. Means I'm just, you have given me a data, right? And basically, unless and until I don't have an idea about a business, like suppose if you have given me some data dump, some Excel sheet you have given me, but let's suppose I don't know what is the relationship between a column which is mentioned inside your Excel sheet. So for sure, it will be very difficult for me, even for my system, to find out some kind of analytics. So data analytics is something which depends upon the business analytics. So let's suppose if you have given me some data from a supply chain business, you have explained me that, okay, fine. So this is a order management data I'm giving you. Now, so inside the order management, there is a order ID, there is a time, there is a date, there is a discount. So if you have mentioned these kind of things, it means that what? It means what? So you are a business analytics expert about a supply chain, on you know about the data, you have explained me those data, means data in terms of attributes. Now as a data analytics, what I will do, I will be able to find the correlation. I will be able to find out that, okay, so the like the price that you have paid and the discount that I have given you, so is there any correlations or not? So if I'm giving you this discount, whether you will be able to buy a same kind of a things, or maybe whether you will be able to come to my platform again or not. What is a possibility that you are going to cancel the order for which you have generated the order ID? So business analytics is all about understanding a business, a particular business. It could be anything. There are thousands of businesses, and data analytics is by taking a help from a business analytics people, how you can derive a data. This is what I can say about data analytics.
So
And
in short, I'll just add one more point into that. When you consider business analytics and data analytics, guys, you need to know about the two positions, that two job requirements. One is business analyst and one is data analyst. Business analyst is responsible for gathering the data, requirement gathering, what we basically say. Once that requirement is gathered, they will push that requirement to the data analyst or the data scientist to actually do the further development of that particular product. So in short, any knowledge regarding the business, or they can also be a domain expertise, that will be all gathered by the business analyst people, and that is what business analytics all deals with. Yes, Rajat.
Right. Another question is by Himanshu. Is he's a research analyst right now, and he wants to make a career change to data analyst. So, what should be his process out, and how it should work on this?
Okay, now it depends on which domain he's actually working or he's doing the research itself. Since he's doing already the research on a specific domain, he can also become a domain expertise. That basically means he knows the in and out of that specific domain. He knows all the requirements of that particular domain. All that thing that you should know is that understand some of the tools, some of the business intelligence tool, try to understand the data that he has and try to apply in that particular tool to become a data analyst in short. He can also use some of the programming languages like Python and R.
Yeah. Another question is by Sudhanshu, who's asking about the scope of data science in fintech industries. And by Pawan is how important is the mathematical knowledge and a good practical knowledge over mathematics for business analytics?
Okay, now when we consider with respect to maths, understand one thing, guys. Now we have a whole lot of libraries, open source libraries, whenever we want to implement anything. But yes, maths is important. The background of the math, the algorithm, how it works, we need to understand the maths of it. And the reason why I'm saying you need to understand, because by that you'll be able to tweak your algorithms. You'll be able to tweak your algorithms and you'll be able to do a whole lot of things. Now, with respect to fintech industry, it is one of the industry where currently, the data science techniques are being extensively used. I'll give you one example. I've seen one of the, app, we basically call it as Grow app. They are using AI, to find out the best suitable portfolio where they can actually invest on. So this is one of the things which is pretty much common right now, and they're using AI technologies in that.
Again, just adding to this point, so like see, mathematics you need, but you should not be a hardcore mathematician. So like in our childhood, right? So I'll just give you a small example. So we used to talk about like a mean, median, mode, standard deviation and variance. That is fine, everyone used to talk about that in our childhood. Now, so at that point of a time, we try to treat this mean, median, mode, standard deviation, and variance just as a formula. At that point of a time, so we don't even know that how we can utilize this small thing. Although mean is a very small thing, right? It's just an average. Mean is nothing but a middle value, and mode is nothing but the frequency of occurrence of the data. But still, so there is a lots and lots of relevance you will be able to find out while doing a data analytics. So you should not know a mathematics just in terms of a formula. That is one thing. You should understand mathematics in terms of a data, how you can apply these things on a data, and then how you will be able to generate a analytics out of that. So doing that operation is not difficult. It's I would say even way easier than learning actual mathematics or whatever we have done. If you are able to correlate these things. So try to learn analytics in terms of a data, not in terms of formula. That will be my suggestions. I have done my PGDM in statistics. So this is how like I used to see mathematics into a data science or into a data analysis. Just try to follow the same thing, I would say.
Another is, what programming language do investment banks look for at data analytics?
See, programming language wise, programming language is not a science. It's not analytics. It's just a tool. It's just a framework, I would say, which helps you out to build or to develop something which can be used by an end user. Now, programming language wise, you can use Python, you can use R, you can use Julia, you can use Java, you can use C, C++, C Sharp, Perl, Ruby, JavaScript, anything. Almost every programming languages supports a library or packages for a data analysis or for a machine learning or even for the deep learning. So generally people think that, okay, so if I'll get an expertise into a programming language, so I can become a data analyst or I can become a very good data scientist, which is a myth, which is not true. So programming language is not a constraint at all. You can go ahead and you can learn any programming language easily. But yes, many people ask me for the suggestion that, okay, so which one will be the easiest possible programming language? I would say go for either Python or R. So even if you are coming from the non-technical background, so Python and R programming language has been built in such a way that it just look like a story. It just look like I'm trying to read out some very good books or maybe some kind of a story which I'm trying to read out. And similarly, you will be able to write your own story as well. Means you will be able to do your own coding as well, specific to your requirements. So like language wise, go for Python or R. Python is a dominating programming language in our industry in terms of data science. R is trying to follow up a Python, I would say. So just try to opt for single language that should be a Python as of now, and you will be able to do everything. Complexity of this language is very low. So anyone can learn, even if you're from the non-technical background, you can do it.
Okay, all these online learnings which are being done across on different platforms. Some student has questions about upgrades and great learnings and etc. All the online courses, how relevant they are, because what we see, right, in terms of lecture delivering or like you and Chris teaching here, right, and then we have a lab and everything, which are all advanced labs, and then all the different algorithms and different softwares which we are using, right? And on another side, a self-learning program, right, where they go and study themselves. So what is more relevant in terms of how this classroom training with you become more relevant for those students?
So when we consider this kind of training, is that what we focus on is that we just don't focus on the educational systematic way. We focus on implementing real world scenarios so that whenever the person is able to clear the course itself, they will be able to get jobs outside because they know all the tools and techniques along with the life cycle of a data science project, how it is implemented in real world IT industries. I think, and I've reviewed many of the courses as such, and this is the thing that is lagging. They don't show deployment. They don't use some other cloud servers, where they understand that how to do the deployment, how to make that as a real world AI application so that many people can use it. So this is the main difference. And if you don't have this particular knowledge, obviously companies will be actually looking for that kind of skills.
Yeah, so adding to this point, I would say, see what happens is learning means what? So learning means we try to take some admission somewhere, and then we try to learn couple of language, couple of algorithm, and then it's done. This is a trend that we used to follow, and a couple of use cases that we used to do. But whenever you will go inside an industry, right, or whenever you will try to get into an industry, whenever you will try to crack a job, so at that point of a time, you are going to face a major challenges, because those people, industry people, or even me or anyone, so as a who is working into some product, so for sure I would not like to hire a person so who is just having some kind of a learning experience, because we all know that learning is not sufficient unless and until you have not explored into a real, when I say project, right, so the project and use cases, things is different. Basically project means if you have dealt with actual data, if you have productionized it in an actual platform, if you have used an entire combination of each and every component which we use to deliver some product into an industry, that is called as an actual development, right? So if you understand a business exactly and accurately, each and every bit, so each and everything into bits and pieces, that is called as an actual contribution, that is called as an actual product. So see, the thing is, everyone is trying to provide a learning, that is completely fine, I completely agree with that. There are many good people, there are many good organization as well who is trying to provide a very good exposure to a learning. But when it comes to a project, when it comes to a real-time industry experience, yeah, people used to claim that, okay, fine, I'm giving a industry experience. Yes, they are trying to do that. I completely agree with those things. But at the same point of a time, unless and until you don't have an extensive expertise, unless and until you have not worked into those things by yourself, right? So you can't say that, no, I have an actual domain knowledge, or I have an actual technical knowledge, or maybe some kind of a algorithm knowledge or a statistical knowledge. So I always recommend people, so learning is one thing, complete your learning, and after that try to look for some opportunity where you will be able to contribute, maybe as an employee or maybe as an intern. And this is what we are trying to provide with the association with the Taxila University, so that you will not only learn over here. So we are not only forcing you to know, okay, fine, so go and learn some algorithms, some statistical concepts, some programming. No, because we agree that this will fail. This is not going to complete your journey at all. So here we always try to give exposure that, no, you will learn one thing. So one phase will be done. In a second phase, you will work with us in our product, with our employee who is a full-time, who is working day and night into that particular product for a particular client. Then you can say, so suppose if you have worked into some industry for a couple of months or for a couple of years, after that things are done. Basically you will be able to understand end to end everything. And if you're going somewhere, so for sure you will be able to express that expertise, not only a learning. Not, you will not say that, no, I just know the algorithm. You will be able to say that, no, I have worked into this one, now let me explain this product. And that actually creates a wow in your interview, or whenever you will try to make a career transition. And this is what we are trying to provide to everyone.
Right. Thank you. Another question is on PGDM and MBA. So IIM Ahmedabad does a PGP course. It's not an MBA course. Same way, Taxila also does a PGDM course. We have a PGDM course which we work upon. All these courses become more relevant because we can make changes faster. If you see an MBA course, a university MBA course, right? For them to make a change, it requires a longer period of time. For PGDM, anywhere, right, the change is very fast. So any new technology which comes, we are able to adopt those technologies faster. Uh, Government-wise, AICT approved any PGDM course is all same out, right? Uh, the PGP which IIM Ahmedabad gives is equivalent, so it's an association of Indian universities which gives a certificate which makes it same level of what a PGP and MBA is, right? So it's not an MBA degree, it's a PGP affiliated and along with AIU is how it works out. Kishore sir, would you like to highlight on this? If you can put some more details on this, because a lot of three questions are there on PGDM and MBA, and then we'll come back to Chris. If you can unmute your mic.
Okay, fine. Now, in fact, I could.
The basic question is
In fact, yes, yeah, Rajat. Good afternoon and good afternoon, students. In fact, for the last couple of webinars, we're having this question time and again: the difference between PGDM and MBA. Right? Probably it will take, say, let's say, 15 to 20 minutes. So, Rajat sir, why we should have one more webinar which is specifically focused on the difference between the PGDM and MBA.
We can do that later.
But to talk about a little bit about the difference between PGDM and MBA, practically, if I talk about PGDM has more exposure to the students. The moment I talk about the PGDM, this is an AICT, and the AICT has given that autonomy to the business schools to design their own curriculum, to do the evaluation, to take up the examination, to do the evaluation, and finally placing the student. Wherein the moment we talk about the MBA courses, this is basically from universities, and generally universities, they take a lot of time in changing their curriculum. So the moment I talk about MBA, we should should not teach like it as a history class. That's true that the moment we talk about a book is in history, could have been written 5 days before or maybe 5 years before, right? The moment we try to teach from the books means a history. So the moment we talk about PGDM programs, most of the business schools which are autonomous or and they have that liberty to change their curriculum very frequently, and they change the curriculum very frequently. And the moment they teach about in the classes, they don't only talk about the history, they talk about what's going to happen the next 1 year, 2 years down the line, maybe 5 years. Right, Rajan sir, probably we need to have an complete session on this one, right? Maybe we'll fix it up shortly. And but to give you a little brief, that technically there's no difference between PGDM and MBA. One is a degree and one is a diploma. But with the PGDM diploma, you can go for the PhD as well, for the government job as well, for anything. Like technically they are equivalent. But the moment it talks about the practicality, there's a difference. So we'll talk up this in the separate webinar. In the meantime, I just wanted to talk to the students that today evening at 5 o'clock, we have one more webinar, and that's very important webinar. That is on protecting the youth from the industrial manipulation. Right. The moment we talk about tobacco, talk about the drugs. So this is focused on that. Then on third, there's a very important webinar to be taken by Dr. Parimal Merchant, who is the director of SP Jain School of Global Management, and this will be focused on how to make your family business better. Then coming down next Sunday and Monday, that is on 6th and 7th, right? We have one more series of mini MBA, that is mini MBA in HR, and that will be, the trainer will be Dr. Soni, who is the head of HR at Taxila Business School. Fine, Rajat.
Yes,
so
last two questions we take and close it.
Yes, sure.
Okay, so the one question which is coming is there a scope of AI to predict tsunamis and earthquakes and different kind of national the calamities which come in, right?
Yes,
Can
yes, it is.
More,
Yes,
right?
it's possible. There are some
right now, right? So
Yeah,
how
there are some use cases that have already come in Kaggle competition regarding that, predicting earthquake calamities, and there are various factors that are dependent on that. There are various features. Again, to understand all those features, you need to have knowledge with respect to that too. And apart from that, as you know, like if I consider example of tsunami and all, there are a lot of sensors that have been kept in seas. Especially in the Bay of Bengal side.
and that is basically giving some signals to the Indian Meteorological Department, and all those information is being continuously verified and checked, and by that definitely we'll be able to do those kind of use cases.
Right. And then the last question we'll take is, I was asked to explain so one student is asking that his name is, that he was asked the difference between business analytics and business intelligence. So how he should explain this kind of thing, right? When they are asked in interviews. And second would be, what would be the agenda for tomorrow? Like what we'll be covering out tomorrow, and specific agendas for 1.5 hours, 2 hours for tomorrow's session.
I think Sudhanshu can answer that in depth, how he's going to cover the architecture.
Yeah, so in tomorrow's session, so we are going to cover a domain specific architecture. So like I'll try to start with the supply chain domain first of all, and then I will try to get into retail and healthcare. And I will be talking about a human resource management as well. So how we can build a solutions for this different domain, what we have done, and what is our flow, what is the architecture that we used to follow, and where this a data scientist or a data analyst or a business analyst fits in into those projects, in what layer, in what level. So this will be the agenda for tomorrow's class. So specific to domain, we'll be talking about each and everything in depth, in very detail.
Right. And the question is business analytics and business intelligence. What's the difference and how they should answer? So this is the last question, and then we'll close for the day.
Okay. Yeah, Sudhanshu, you can go ahead.
Okay, so business analytics and business intelligence, almost it's a kind of a word which is close to each other. So when I think we already talked about like a business analytics, right? So business analytics is nothing but so trying to build or try to understand a domain or a data. And if we are able to understand a data or maybe a domain and correlation of that particular domain with respect to any other domain. So like I said, supply chain, right? So supply chain is related with a logistics a lot, I would say, or with a manufacturing. So manufacturing is other domain, logistic is one of the domain, and supply chain is a other domain. So it's correlated to each and everything, I would say. So if I'm able to understand all of these domain, a core domain as well as a associated domain, I can say that, okay, fine. So I have a good understanding, I have a good expertise about business analytics. So that is called as a business analytics, understanding your business, understanding your domain. Now, when we are talking about a business intelligence, so if we are able to build some kind of a tool which will be able to help me out, to make some kind of a prediction, to make some kind of a forecasting, to take some kind of a decision which can give me some kind of a benefit or some kind of advantage over to my competitor in a market, that is called as a business intelligence. So business intelligence is nothing but insights. If you are able to get a prediction forecasting in terms of insights, you can say that, okay, fine. So this is a tool which is a business intelligence tool with respect to a XYZ domain in which I am working. So this is how you should understand a business analytics. Understanding a business intelligence means deriving some relations and giving some forecasting so that I will be able to make a decision. So this is how I can explain like analytics and intelligence.
Right. Fine, Krish, fine, Sudhanshu, thank you for the wonderful session, and we had a lot of learning today, and we look forward for the session tomorrow. How we are working on business analytics in Taxila along with Sudhanshu and Krish and their team is, we are creating a center of excellence in Taxila Business School now for our PGDM course, wherein along with the PGDM, what the students are doing, specialization in finance, marketing, HR, international business, rural marketing, retail and all, they'll also be doing data analytics and business analytics as a specialization, right? Which will be more industrial specific, because a lot of companies which come for placements ask for industrial specific analytical science and all. So we are creating a full lab here, which will be based on project-based learning, which will be based on algorithms and how it will work out. So we'll be talking in more details about that tomorrow on how it will be set up out. The whole course between 150 to 180 hours of classroom training along with a lot of projects and all. So how it will work out for the students is what we'll be discussing tomorrow, along with the domain knowledge of various industries, what Sudhanshu has discussed right now. If you have any questions, I have put out my email ID. You can send those questions, and we'll ask Sudhanshu and Krish to answer those questions tomorrow and take it forward from there. And for the other joinings of other webinars, what people are asking, you can go to Taxila's website and go to the event center, and then you'll be able to log in and see all the webinars which are available and register for them. Any closing remark, Chris? Otherwise, we'll close the meeting.
Yeah, guys. So that's it. As we said that now everybody is moving towards AI. Trust me, in upcoming 1 to 2 years, right now, 10 to 15% of the organization have moved towards AI. Probably in the upcoming 2 years, more than 50% organization will be moving. So utilize this opportunity, and yes, try to learn this. And we'll be happy to teach you all with respect to this topic. Anything, Sudhanshu, you have, you can also.
Okay, so nothing much. I think I will be talking about many things a lot in tomorrow's class, in tomorrow's discussion, right? So thank you guys. Thank you, like Rajat sir and Kishore sir, and thanks Chris, so giving us this opportunity. And looking forward to connect with you guys tomorrow so that we can talk about in-depth architecture discussions about a domain, right? And we'll try to understand the AI. With that, thank you so much and have a great day and weekend ahead to everyone.
Thank you, Rajat. Thank you, Kishore, for this wonderful opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll close the meeting now.